What's up YouTube, Seth here with another Battlefield 3 Armored Kill gameplay commentary, and today I've got around to Tank Superiority, the new mode introduced in the Armored Kill expansion on Death Valley. And in my previous Armored Kill video, I mentioned very hastily that I do not really recommend playing this mode, so I figured I'd make this video to expand that thought fully and fully discuss exactly why I don't recommend playing it. And it's not that it's a terrible mode by any means, but there are some things that I just do not find very appealing about it, so I wanted to share those thoughts in full in this video. So basically what it comes down to is there are two major factors in Tank Superiority that prevent me personally from enjoying it. One of those factors is that it is very, very easy to spawn trap the other team. In every single match of Tank Superiority that I have ever played, except for this one, and this is why I'm including this footage, because this is probably the most exciting Tank Superiority game that I got recorded, and was the only one, and is still the only Tank Superiority game that I've ever played, where the opposing team started with the single flag cap for a significant amount of time, that is more than maybe a minute, and it wasn't contested, and we actually managed to push in, break their defense, and capture and hold the point ourselves. In every single other game of Tank Superiority that I've ever played, that hasn't even come close to happening. Every time what has happened is the first team to hold it for a significant amount of time, like I said, more than say a minute, so when they actually have their defensive line set up, they have won the game. And it's not just winning by a few tickets in a competitive match that goes back and forth. No, they have won easily by 120 tickets or more every single game. And I think the problem inherent in a game mode like this is that there is only one control point. And the fact that the major weapons in this mode, in fact, basically the only weapons in this mode, are heavy vehicles, once a team has established control of that single control point, it prevents the other team from basically doing anything unless they can make an extremely coordinated and forceful effort to push through it, because there isn't as much of an opportunity to break out different classes, try different tactics, flank around through cover, for example, or if you're a stronger infantry player, use those skills to your advantage, or perhaps go around the enemy and cap a different flag and try to break out of the spawn trap. There's only one capture point, and everybody is fighting over that point at once with basically only one vehicle type. So it makes it very, very hard for anybody to break a strong defensive line, or any defensive line for that matter. So you'll see what I'm doing here is I do manage to flank up on this hill, and I do manage to set up a position here where I can snipe off a couple of enemy vehicles, and this is an effective strategy for Tank Superiority, that is, flanking around to some degree and trying to find the high ground so that you can cover the flag from afar while other teammates go in and capture it, but this is not applicable on all maps. Death Valley is a map that has more elevation change than, say, Bandark Desert or Armored Shield has, and it's easier to do that on this map than any of the other maps. It also helps that I was talking with my squad mate Lasering here, so he was able to come down and help with the flag capture while I sat up and sniped off enemy vehicles. In a regular game, chances are that not many people are going to be coordinating as effectively as that or talking to each other, and you're not going to have that type of sophisticated communication, and whoever is trying to snipe off enemy tanks or whoever is trying to go cap the flag, if they're doing that by themselves, their efforts are more often than not wasted. Now, the other problem that I have with Tank Superiority is that it becomes very, very monotonous. Again, like I said, there's basically only one weapon type in the mode, and most people will choose to run Engineer or Support, understandably because they have the explosive weapons. This means that once you've played a couple rounds, you've basically played all the rounds you'll ever play. Most games pan out very, very similarly. Both teams rush the flag, whoever caps it first gets a huge advantage over the other team, and then it's just driving out of your spawn over and over just to get shot down by the same weapons, the same vehicles if you're on the losing side, and if you're on the winning side, then it's basically just sitting there in front of the flag trying to defend it. It would be a lot more interesting if there were, say, air vehicles or if there was an opportunity for infantry to play a larger role, like if there were more flags, but then obviously it wouldn't be tank superiority, it would just be normal conquest. So that's why I think that it's sort of a problem inherent with the game mode, not necessarily DICE's fault for implementing the tanks the way they implemented them. I think that the game mode itself was not necessarily thought out as well as it could have. That being said, you still have opportunities for a lot of fun tank battles, essentially. As monotonous as they do get, you do get explosive warfare, you can get competitive sort of microcosms of tank battles where you'll get 3 tanks from each side all of a sudden in one place having a massive battle, and that can be really exciting, and that's a lot of fun. So I have had some good enjoyment with this game mode, but it's not anywhere near as common or as frequent as the boring sitting there defending the flag, or the even more painful pushing out of your spawn to try to cap the flag that's nearly impossible to do if you're not coordinating with a team. If you are going to play this mode, I highly recommend, again, that you have someone to coordinate and communicate with, because otherwise you're either going to stomp all the time or you're going to get stomped all the time. There's really no other way to put it. It always becomes a very one-sided affair, and it becomes very boring. Another problem that I have that's not as big of a deal, and I understand why DICE did this, given that consoles have the 12-player limit per team, but that problem is that each side on tank superiority, I believe, has only 5 tank destroyers and 1 main battle tank in total. This seems like a lot of vehicles, and of course it's a lot more heavy vehicles than any regular conquest or rush mode would have, but there's 12 people on each team and only 6 vehicles total. So if everybody needs a vehicle, and trust me, everybody needs to be in a vehicle, otherwise you're just a sitting duck there, unless you want to go hide in the back with a javelin or a SOFLAM, which that's not my playstyle, but I understand some people like to do that. I just find it very boring and not very productive. Then you're essentially stuck riding shotgun with another player, and hopefully he knows what he's doing, because if he doesn't, then you're kind of screwed. Or you're stuck on foot, like I said. And then if you do choose to be in a gunner position and ride with a driver, none of the other positions in the tank destroyers can actually do anything against heavy vehicles. They're all those small light machine guns that you'd find on an IFV like the BMP or the LAV. And sure, the tank has the CITV station for people who have it unlocked, and that can be very, very helpful, obviously, but again, that's only for players who have unlocked it, and is often only effective if you're in a squad with someone who you can talk to and tell them, point the SOFLAM, or rather the CITV station, point it here, target this vehicle so I can lock on to him, so the teammate, if there's a teammate with the javelin in the back, can lock on to him and help out the team. I suppose it really does come down to how willing are you to sacrifice the potential for maybe a competitive game for the opportunity to have those, well, at least what I found to be far between large-scale tank battles like you've probably seen in the trailers if you've watched the Armored Kill trailers. Because this mode does have some fun to offer, and I have had some fun times with it, but overall it just seems like a poorly thought out, poorly implemented game mode that doesn't take advantage of the vehicle's strengths. And I think that if there were to be, I'm willing to say, if there were to be 12 tanks per team, or rather maybe 8 tank destroyers and 4 main battle tanks or something like that, the game mode would be a lot more fun. But here, as you can see, we came back from what must have been 70 or 80 tickets down, I'm not sure of the exact number, to win by almost 100, I believe. So you can see there, once we captured that flag, the other team really had nothing they could do, and that is a prime example of how basically every game that I have played in Tank Superiority has gone, except every other game it's been from the beginning. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a thumbs up. If you didn't, leave a thumbs down. I'm always open to honest feedback. Please comment, tell me what you thought about it, and subscribe if you really enjoyed it. Other than that, I'm out. See you guys later.